Go on mute, Hans.
I forgot to unmute. Let me run that back again. Hastrobros! Welcome back to another Hardwood and Hastrobros Talk Show. Peoples, what a week of basketball. Mixed emotions. Kind of annoyed. Kind of disappointed. You know, kind of intrigued as well for what's to come.
A bag of
I don't know,
emotions.
man. Like, it's more than a bag at this point. It's just a whole vortex of emotions going around right now. But look, it is what it is at this point. It looking exciting. And I'm actually invested now to see what's going to happen. We are at the finals in the conferences, both East and West. We got our teams lined up. But before I dive too deep into any of this, peoples, because I want to talk about it, let me check in my bros. Hakeem, what going on, my brother? How was the week?
The week was good. The week was good. Relaxing. Actually, I can't say relaxing. It was a good week. A lot of work. Found some time to distress with the football, the gym, basketball. Other than that, it was a okay week. It was okay.
Okay, week. Are you all about you? Same thing, or you got something to
Sensational,
talk
brother. Sensational. Yeah. Yeah. So you know what it is for anytime you lying.
Yeah,
Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals. So you know it's lit. That game 7 was everything you could hope for in terms of excitement. I don't know, man. Just a crazy turnaround.
heart wrenching on the other side, though. I ain't gonna lie.
It's sort of, but you know, I look at it from that perspective. First, I gotta look at it from my own perspective, which
For
is
sure.
Timberwolves' perspective. So
Well deserved.
well deserved. We used to pray for times like these. Now we seeing it come to fruition.
You know, that's a meatloaf bar.
So now we seeing it come to fruition. Watching this thing for the past, from let's say like 2016, so the last 8 years, finally see some success is just heartwarming, and no emotion could could be a descriptive for how it felt in the moment. But we move on. We still got another
must
team
turn up
ready
tables.
for the rest.
Kick down
Nah,
chairs.
I ain't get
must
that bad
turn up
yet.
tables, kick
I
down
think, I
chairs.
think I
Pull down
think
curtains.
finals, finals, finals,
Finals
finals.
is
That's
when the
finals
whole
energy.
smash
I
it.
gotta be able to, elevate with the team too. Elevating my celebrations as a team with the team success through the postseason.
Easy,
So this
easy.
taking my time. This Western Conference might induce a little bit more celebration. So
Mhm.
I just looking for it, excited. On the other side too, in the Eastern Conference, I'm looking forward to all those matchups. But generally, it's been a great week for me. Can't complain. I'm feeling
Mhm.
good, feeling great, and the Timberwolves winning just put some icing on the top.
Mhm.
Loving it. Loving
Yeah.
it. Guys, as always, a little housekeeping. See a few people in the stream. Here, don't forget to hit that like button. I already did it. So make sure you do the same. And let me get rolling. So we already basically touch on most of it, most of the action, kind of give you guys a little prelude. Timberwolves coming back from 20 points down to beat the defending champions. Like I said, I was disappointed. I was so disappointed that the Nuggets couldn't find anything in the arsenal. Even the empty box, well, not I shouldn't say empty box, but even the boxes in the corner that they probably would have, put away couple years back, maybe like at least looking them to see if you find something. You know what I mean? Man couldn't find nothing at all to shoot back at Timberwolves. Gutted because my prediction was in favor of the defending champs, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. It was not a horrible prediction at all. Like I said, if they had to do it, they would have had to do it in game 7 because they know Timberwolves wasn't going to be a pushover at any point in this series at all. Ant's been leading the team, young, energetic leader, really getting the team going when they need to be going. And honestly, I can't fault them. I'm actually happy for them as well, but just disappointed in Nuggets in how they allowed Timberwolves to come back.
Look, it sounds like I don't want to say Nuggets to me didn't really choke per se. I want to put down to the Timberwolves playing better basketball. Yes, you may say they were down. They had a lead of 20 points, but
Nuggets get
we
hang B.
we
Let
know
me
we
let
know
me choke.
no no lead is safe in NBA, right? We've seen this series two teams come back.
Come on,
What
bro. This is
but what
playoffs.
but what I will say the difference was right. Carl Anthony
Mm-hmm.
Towns was guarding Jokic. He made it difficult for Jokic. I mean, they had a time when Rudy. I saw the difference. I think it was the third quarter. I saw Rudy was on Jokic and was like, "Yo, get that man off of Jokic. Get move." And see when Carlton was locked in, he got into a bit of foul trouble. But for the most part, I think he did his job. He made it difficult. Jokic was, I think, 0 from 7 from the three up to the fourth quarter when he hit two back-to-back threes. Like Jokic was struggling. I don't want to say he was struggling because he just was off. I think Karl Anthony Towns deserves credit for how he played defense on Jokic in that game 7. And I think that was a pivotal point. And the fact Jamal Murray just went cold in the second half. I don't know. He did a Steph special. But I'll take it. I'll take it because the man cannot miss in the first half, was on fire, and then struggled in the second half. So those are my 2 cents before I get into it. So yeah.
Well, straight off the rip, I would say this is more of a Timberwolves win than a Nuggets loss. If you could break it down that way. The Timberwolves just came out and flipped the switch. Something that is more synonymous with the Nuggets as a team as we, chronicle their journey throughout the season. They have been the team that, in 5 minutes left in the game, they flip that switch and nobody can start them from scoring. They lock in on defense and they usually come out victorious. But this time the roles reversed. The Timberwolves took that identity from them, came in and put their twist of their identity on it, which is locking down the defensive end, especially in that third quarter. The Timberwolves went on a crazy run in that third quarter. The third quarter ended up finishing 28-14. after that team had looked like they were punching the Timberwolves in the mouth, they just came out and laid a goose egg. But again, I credit the Timberwolves because they were the ones doing the punching. They're the ones that said, "Nah, this is not how it's going to go." And there's probably one day it's never been done in the game seven before. First of all, no one is the biggest deficit in the game seven that anyone came back to win from was 11 points. They made history by erasing the 20-point deficit and coming back to win the game. So it's just a testament to how strong and how solid their defense is. Yes, the Nuggets had some open shots that they missed, but when you get into that funk because of the tough defense that the team is playing, open shots don't look as easy as they would normally look anymore. So I just feel like
Yeah,
they
because you're
were able
nervous.
to.
You're shooting nervous now at that
Yeah,
point.
it's some level of hesitancy involved. Um,
Yeah.
Jokic specifically, commenting on your point, Hakeem, I don't feel as that Cat played like Jokic still had like 34, 19 rebounds and 7 assists though. Like I just feel like
he, he made
he
it a little
felt
more.
him.
Slowed him
Yeah, he
down. It
did.
wasn't.
Yes,
He didn't have an
yes, he slowed
easy.
him down.
He already had to work to get those
Yeah,
points.
I think he made him think about the game a little bit more because in this he was 0 for 7, but it felt like he didn't really want to take those 3-point shots. He took so many threes. He finally scored so many in the
Fourth
second
quarter, I think it
half,
was his fourth.
but
Yeah,
he has fourth quarter, but a little bit too late to be honest. But shout out to my team. They came in and they have a great game, and you saw what these guys. If you watch any of their interviews, been saying for pretty much the whole of the season, is a full team effort, and you really saw it in Game 7 because Ant went 6 for 24, but he got some guys on the team that stepped up. Cat stepped up. Jaden McDaniels stepped up, both pitching in with 23 points. McDaniels, I would say, would have been the MVP of the last 2 games, really and truly. Almost led this team in scoring in the last 2 games. I'm playing exceptional defense on Jamal Murray and pretty much everybody. I don't know if you guys saw that block on Aaron Gordon. That was absolutely insane. Rudy Gobert was knocking it down on the defensive end, especially in the second half. The first half, he looked a little bit out of it. I think they were giving him the ball a little bit too much, but he really came back and settled down in the second half and really played to his identity as a defensive player. Got some starts on that end. He hit this crazy turnaround jumper. I don't know if you guys saw that
I saw that
MJ-esque
I saw
turnaround
that.
fadeaway. I was like, what is
Yeah.
going on? I
But
could not
Never
believe it.
yet in the locker,
Never in
Rudy.
my life.
Yeah, I jumped on my bed. I was like, "Yo, my guy!"
There's no way.
Couldn't believe it. I was like, "That's Rudy." At that point, I was like, "Yeah, boy, this man
Yeah,
cooking."
this man got me. Yeah,
That
that
He's
cannot
was a
be doing.
distasteful shot, though.
It
I
was
feel like
disgusting.
that kind of just burned the Nuggets.
It's
The
true.
crisp.
If it was on the opposite team, I
even
would hold my chest.
I think even Man said the same thing. He was like, "Yeah." For the time Rudy was hitting that fadeaway, he was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, he
got
was
him."
like, yeah,
That was the
yeah,
turning point
we
for
got
sure.
him.
Yeah.
Like that was insane. So
Insane scenes. Uh,
it,
and a
it
low scoring game, too. It was not even like
It was pretty low. Yeah, relatively low scoring game.
yeah,
typical.
98, 90.
Yeah, it was not your typical above 110 type of back and forth. It was
It was
really,
exciting.
really locked down. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
really exciting. It lived up to the hype of a Game 7 because throughout this specific series, pretty much for the whole series, everybody was blowing up one another.
Yeah.
The last game before this one, the team was cutting them boys for win by 45 points. It was up 15 again. That's crazy. So
Mhm.
to see this competitive game come out of it was really exciting, really satisfying, I would say as well. And I don't know. Shout out to the Wolves, man. Shout out to the Wolves. They've gone on to the Western Conference Finals. I
Big
expect big
congrats to
things from
them,
them as
bro.
a fan. But as an NBA fan as well, this is one of the greatest stories in the NBA over the season for sure.
One
Yeah.
of them is right because the people that they gotta face up against is the Mavs, who's honestly done a really good job throughout the entire season to book their place also in the Western Conference Finals. Any thoughts on that team?
I guess we could mention it a little bit. I just felt confident. Let me say this: the Thunder have the identity of they've developed their defensive identity coming on to the last couple of weeks of the season. Now we seeing the benefits of it paying off in the playoffs. Pretty much for most of this playoff run, Luca hasn't
Mhm.
really been himself to me personally offensively, and they've
Yeah,
bogged down a lot of teams, had a lot of lower scoring games, and been able to gut out these wins defensively. So
yeah,
I credit their defensive transformation the most for this success. They've been exceptional on that, and even Kyrie is playing some crazy defense, sacrificing his offensive output
yes,
to me, in my opinion,
yeah.
to really not raise it up another level on defense. You even see Liko out there on the floor grabbing loose balls and stuff like that. So the Thunder, and sorry, the Mavericks have kind of changed their identity a little bit, and it's been great, especially with the additions of PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, who have defensive skill sets as well.
Good points. I think. I mean, also on the offensive end, they've become Lob City as well, where they've been using Dart Lively a lot.
Derrick
Um,
Jones Jr.
with the alley hoops, him as well.
Mhm.
Both of them actually, and Gafford, PJ Washington shooting some timely shots as well. He's not always been hot. Neither has he always been cold either. Like he's been rather, I guess, in between
Yeah.
a decent pace of performance levels. So excited to see that matchup, but we can talk about that a little bit more later on. Unless Hakeem,
Yeah.
you got something quick to mention about that.
Well, no, just really, it's just about the Dallas. If it's still on Dallas at the moment, I'm just happy for Curry, happy for the team. I I always believe in I always believed in Curry, and in fact, as we talked about this earlier, well, in previous streams, he wasn't. He was his reputation took a dive, and I think it was unjust. It wasn't quite his fault, in my opinion. And I think people really
Mhm.
forgot about his skill set. So I'm happy that he's not able to really showcase to us and let the world, remind the world how valuable he is as a player. He didn't have the best of the last game. Game six wasn't the best of games, but Lucas stepped up at the right time. We know Lucas been sub. I can't say subpar. Well, subpar of his standard, but still
Mhm.
good. But still pretty good, right? Nonetheless. But Lucas
Yeah.
stepped up. Team stepped up. They found a way. I chose I chose Dallas to win over OKC for several reasons that we probably get into later on in the stream.
Yeah.
But it's their time to shine. I'm happy they made it to the Western Conference Finals, and stay tuned for who I think will actually win this series.
You already prelude that, man. I already peep you seeing
You,
Hakeem.
you can't tell who we
I,
can't win. We can't
I,
tell who
I,
I
I,
choosing.
I already peep you seeing Hakeem. I will even write it down and show you as soon as you see it. I will write it
Uh,
down. But another exciting series in the semifinals in the East was between Knicks and Pacers. Knicks, a team that's raised from the ashes, coming off of the I want to say that was around the time of the All Star season or All Star game.
Oh,
Sorry,
sorry, Brent.
break. Yes, the All Star break, and they've really showed their prowess in being able to win games. And to be honest, the way they did it kind of came back to bite them in the end, unfortunately. Being plagued with a lot of injuries. We touched on this last week where we were saying like something normal could really do a lot of damage for something that's fatigued or to something that's fatigued. And I feel like they've been on the receiving end of some injuries that probably, possibly, we all can say these things could be avoided when you look back at it in terms of team management, team load management. So outside of that, though, Pacers, just to shine some light on them, um, I've said it before. Rayvon's touched on it. Their identity has been the offense, and they've shot a whopping 67% on the night, on the closeout night to beat the Knicks. That's insane numbers.
Absolutely insane.
If you watch
And if you,
basketball,
eh,
even even on the TV, not even live, you will see how much teams miss, um, and see how fast, or have a good correlation to see how fast the numbers pile up. But to shoot 67 is like you trying almost every couple shots
yep.
that this team makes.
Yep.
Is crazy. High output offensively. Talk about them numbers, Rayvon.
Dog, I never got to talk about the numbers. I was just watching the game. And in the first half, it was just like none of these men can miss, especially the first quarter.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam was going off every single, almost. I feel like every single shot he took, he scored. Tyrese too. Tyrese was hitting some crazy trees, some step back trees. They weren't missing. Everybody on the team, and this is one of the few teams that don't really have a big star player, and even their star player is a very unselfish player. So everybody chipping in again, getting a piece of the pie when it comes to the offensive load.
Yeah.
So you see Halliburton, Siakam, Nemhard, Aaron Neesmith, TJ McConnell, who played an exceptional game in my opinion. Was really, he was one that was hitting some crazy shots. I was like, what? How did I even score? Like,
Yep.
the guys, they came out with the mentality to kill, and it showed out in their identity. As I say, they're an excellent offensive team, have great shooting all across the board, mid range, 3-point, at the basket. They really just went out and showed that. I just felt like, I don't want to go off the Pacers, but I just felt like they knew that they had to come up with that mentality to run the Knicks out of the building, because it's very clear to see the Knicks just look dead in the legs. I don't know how else you could say it. They just look like a tired team.
Overworked horses.
For sure.
I'll say, right, for all this great shooting that the Pacers did, the Knicks were still within striking distance. Within they were still trailing, but I think it was 5 or 8 points in the third quarter. After the host Pacers went off, the Knicks were still right there in the thick of it, and they were poised to take the lead and to, in my opinion, to win the series. But unfortunately, let's not forget Branson went out. For the time Branson went out, it became an even steeper hill to climb. And I think ultimately, as you alluded to, the injuries is what caused Knicks to lose this series.
I agree.
If the Knicks were healthy, there's no way the Pacers winning this team. I don't care, they can shoot 80%. They're still not beating the Knicks because the Knicks able to find a way to get it done.
I agree.
Branson's that guy. So ultimately, it seem harsh. Tom Thibodeau go, or you got someone go come and talk to Tom.
Dog.
Go.
Here we go.
Every
Again.
week.
Here we go again. Got to go.
He get asked.
Got
Or
to go.
you have to talk to this man and say, yo, bro, we need to work. We need to talk to you about load management. We take a course on load management. We know how to rotate players, inspire players, because you will
Personnel management.
not run Branson to the ground. You will not do it. I will have the GM has to come down, or the owner has to say, yo, this is our franchise player. The man's a talent, relatively low on money. We have spent how much money? I think it's 80 mil, right? It was 80 mil for Branson.
100 and something.
It was 100.
But,
We ain't really gonna spend that much. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it calm, rotate players. Man, 24, 20, I think 25, 26. He can't, bro. He got
He's what?
He cannot be that old. He has to be young. Yeah, he can't be that old.
yeah, he's
Branson,
about 25, 26.
yeah, he is about
Man.
27. He's turning 27 in August. So
I
it's
join
like
the
So he's
shit.
26. Yeah.
26.
But
Be close
I'm
enough.
old.
So basically, you can't be running this man to the ground. So Tom gotta go, or someone wants to talk to Tom, because there's no reason why they should lose this.
And
I'm very
and a
serious.
boy
There's
telling
no-
Tom who he can and cannot play.
No
So
reason they
if
should lose this series. They were, I cannot believe they were trailing in the first quarters, in the first half, but they came back methodically, systematically. They found ways. They got buckets. Branson, Alec Burks, everybody was chipping in.
You mean
But
Dante
injury.
DiVincenzo? He was a flamethrower, to be
DiVincenzo's,
honest.
yeah,
Him too
He
for
was hitting
sure.
some crazy shots.
Well,
Because
Burst hit his shots in the back end, but
yeah,
at that point
but
in time, I guess
I just
it was
felt
too
like,
late.
regardless of that, I just felt like everything that the Knicks were hitting on were super difficult compared to the Pacers. Everything just looked so easy. It didn't
Agreed.
matter to me at that point. Everything just looked easy breezy for the Pacers. I mean, the Pacers' identity is not defense. I ain't come into this expecting them to guard. I come into this expecting them to outscore them, and that's exactly what they do. Regardless of however close they got, I know that Brunson went to, but I didn't have any hope for this next team after I see how binder they look. Josh
hmm
Hart, the heart and soul of that team, he was out for the last game. He tried to play this game, and
and
the
work
man
out.
just
He,
yeah, the
yeah,
body. They
he was terrible. He didn't have any
got the
legs,
bodies, man.
and I knew for a fact if they were able to win this series,
Yeah, the
despite the
Celtics will
injuries,
demolish them.
Yeah,
for
it'd
sure,
be easy
like,
road.
yeah, for sure, it was guaranteed. So
I'll be
So
more
that's what
disappointed the
demolish this.
Pacers if the Knicks had to win this series. Even though he picked the Knicks to win, I'll be so
hmm
disappointed the Pacers if the Pacers had a low the Knicks to win this series because
Yeah,
they break no benefiting from so much injury luck.
oh my god,
They
for
got
sure, most
capitalize on it.
definitely.
They got
This is
capitalize on it.
this reminds me of the 2015 Warriors. How the Warriors were able to get to the finals with facing teams that had a lot of injuries, and then playing LeBron, and then playing the Cavaliers, without Kyrie and without Kevin Love. The Pacers have been fortunate, have been blessed, and they should capitalize. But unfortunately, that luck runs
But
out against the Celtics. I'm calling it no, foot down. That luck runs out.
we
So
shall see. I want you to know that this same team went to the finals in the in season tournament.
But you gotta
Celtics
Like
and
be able to play
six.
some good defense as well. I just feel like
I can keep bringing
the
it up.
Pacers have been the Pacers have been better defensively. I can't deny that, but I just
Yeah.
don't think that they're like elite defensively to be able to start like Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. The only people that can start them is themselves.
And Derek White, you
Yeah.
can't
True.
forget
And
big
they're
boy
right.
Derek White.
And there, wait, correct,
Hakim
correct.
new
There, wait,
superstar.
the best player, the best player. That's my superstar. I take that. That's my superstar. That way, best player in the Celtics.
Definitely is hands down England like. But yeah, Pacers, good on them for capitalizing, getting this far. I don't know the history of this team as it relates to conference finals or anything like that, but
I,
good
I
on
know
them
they've been
to
a
be
couple
back
of
here
times.
again. With this new team and with this young upcoming talent and superstar that they have in Tyrese Halliburton. Now let's talk about the teams that we kind of touch on all this except for Cleveland Cavs and OKC Thunders. The two other teams that were sent home. Um, Let me start with the Cavs because this is easy to talk about, right? When you talk about you wanted this team to get washed off
I
basically
did.
from the get go.
Yeah. I wanted to lose in that first round. Um, truthfully, because they tried to make sure that they make it to the second round. They went over their
Yeah.
way to make sure that they did better than last year, which is fine. I get it. But the team's still in the same position as it would have been if they had lost in the first round because it's still question marks around whether Donovan Mitchell wants to stay or not. I don't feel that he
Mhm.
feel confident in the team after that. I mean, yes, there was injuries that played a part. The team wasn't whole in that caps, so maybe that gives them
Yeah.
an excuse to try to run it back. But I just don't feel that this Cavs team is going to really amount to much, and
Mhm.
nothing that they did in this postseason run could help me feel any better about this team before heading into the playoffs. It just feels like at the same point, Donovan Mitchell needs to make a decision on what he needs to do. I mean, the team needs to make a decision on what they want to do with the team, um, because I don't think they have the right recipe for great success in the future, really and truly.
Yeah. So you basically think they mid around the same success, just getting first round, maybe win, maybe lose, type of thing, or
Yeah, they'll
playing
probably be
in.
repeating that over and over if they
Yeah,
continue
I
to run
think
it back.
I think
They
they
might
got
consider
lucky.
this a success. Go ahead.
No, I was saying one can say that they got a bit lucky to game and get past the Orlando Magic in the first round. It
It
took them
is
7 games.
true. Like
It took them 7 games. So
that
one,
was
you know,
what's up.
one bad game, and they were out in the first round. And you'd be talking about who we're going to trade, who's on the cutting block. So I mean, they might be happier that they got further, which is and
Yeah,
they still looks as progress.
yeah,
But I
but
mean, I think honestly they would like to be able to at least get to a conference final. Or maybe even win an NBA championship. I don't think they have aspirations for that right now because they know they can't win. But I think when they traded Donovan Mitchell and they believe in their players, I think they would like them to be able to get a conference final. I think that would be
yeah,
their aim.
I just yeah, and I just think that this is kind of like a masked victory in saying in a way because they get to the second round because it's an improvement from last year. It just seems so superficial to me. I just
Yeah,
don't
Yeah,
feel like the team is better, in my opinion, than it was
yeah,
before. It just seemed very, very much the same. Um,
right.
and they had to go the extra lengths to make sure that that was the case. So
yeah.
Yeah, like
I want,
fits in
yeah,
games.
kind of fits in their matchup in the postseason. So
I want
Yeah,
to even say that.
already,
One could even
if you
say that.
believe that you could,
Oh, you go, you go, you go.
yeah, if you believe that you could face face whoever's in front of you. To me, I don't feel like they believe that they're that good. That and one of the biggest things
wow.
in the NBA is confidence. And if the team on a whole don't got confidence, I just don't see where it's going. Confidence about anything. So
Yeah,
that's my spiel on the Cavs.
That's fair. I guess I want plus two to even add. One could say that they got the same amount of wins as a riddled or crippled Miami Heat. So, so you would say if Miami Heat were healthy and they had to face the Cavaliers, who do you think would win in a seven game series? I think most people might still go for Miami Heat if they had to play the
Of
Cavaliers. So
course.
ultimately, the Cavaliers are right now a mid-table team in the Eastern Conference, uh, and ultimately because they know that the East is right now weaker than the West, they should typically at this rate they should guarantee the playoff spot for the most part. But
Yeah, but
they, they're,
that's where they had a decent record still because the
yeah,
East is kind of whack.
yeah, and their ceiling is not high. But when you still look at it on the flip side, considering what this franchise has been through, LeBron is not there. They go feel
Yeah.
it. We on a good trajectory at any day. They're not a lottery pick. They
Hmm.
got knocked in the second round of the playoffs,
True.
so they gotta be saying this is better than nothing. This isn't too bad. Consider this isn't too bad. So they might consider it a success for them at any day.
Yeah, they will. I think they will. Uh, but to me, it just seemed superficial again, as I say.
as a competitive player, them shouldn't even think that that was a success. Them should probably just think that the strategy in terms of getting in was a success, but the whole performance on the whole, them definitely got to
Yeah,
revisit that and be
yeah,
like, things need to shift. We need to move pieces around, see what's the best fit. Yes, they had injuries, but did they really have a chance though? I
yeah,
don't think
yeah,
so.
yeah. I don't think so. And the Celtics, you gotta remember Chris Stockton and the Celtics, and the Celtics beat them pretty soundly. To be honest, they didn't have Jerry
Yeah.
Allen as well, so there's that. But
Mhm.
I mean, if you missing two key big players, maybe you would think that the playing field kind of leveled a little bit more now because they don't got such a key player on their team. Come out there and
Right.
maybe get two games on the Celtics. But we talked about Donovan Mitchell last week too, and his style of play and how it might be holding back the teams that he plays on as well. So that's another point of discussion. But yeah, I just don't see the Cavs doing much as the years go on. Even next year, and a lot is looming as it relates to Donovan Mitchell and where he goes. So they
He
are
should go
going to
to the
have an
Heat.
interesting offseason.
Yeah.
People have been saying that they're going to have an interesting offseason. They're going to make a decision on how to go forward. So it should be fun in
Yeah.
that regard. But
One, I guess,
good
a
riddance to them.
food for thought. A quick question. One
Mhm.
could say, should Donovan Mitchell be a number two in terms of the number two option in terms of scoring or in terms of the best player on the team, or does he deserve to be a number one?
I feel like his oneness right now is not leading to meaningful victories.
Like you say, Hakeem, empty calories.
Yeah, Yeah, kind of. You mentioned it last week, man. I don't know if his one next will be able to do that. I don't even know the type of player that will be good to pair him next to. Maybe like a LeBron, maybe. I don't know.
Mm.
But
He need,
I wouldn't put him on that Lakers team like if they were to trade for somebody. Right now
he
this
needs a
this league is filled with two star teams, and the big three type of thing are working out these days. So
big three is not working anymore
Nope.
because of the you have to
the
give it too
money.
much. You have to give it
Yeah,
too
yeah,
much to get a
yeah.
third player. If you could get a
Correct.
third player and still keep your a decent roster around those two players, you can live. But
Yeah, correct.
that
That's but I mean I don't know. Yeah, Suns is the biggest example of that right now. And I don't think the Lakers should venture into that
I
space
agree.
again
I
because you
agree.
see it with
I agree.
Westbrook.
Sports don't play with
Like,
names
come
though.
on.
I wouldn't I wouldn't trade for Mitchell, to be honest. I wouldn't take Mitchell. That's the truth. I would
But
not take Mitchell.
I would put LeBron or maybe Luka as the type of player that I would put Donovan Mitchell to play again next to, because he don't gotta be the main playmaker. Those guys are big playmakers on their own. Somebody of that ilk. And there are not many of those guys in the league, to be honest.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you think he would have to play a number 2 spot in terms of coming off the bench to just
Oh
run
nah.
run
Mitchell?
a second
Nah,
unit?
Nah, bro.
nah,
That's a stretch.
nah,
That's a
boy.
That's a
stretch.
stretch.
That's a big stretch.
Nah, yeah, that would never happen. The league won't allow that happen. No team will allow that happen. The master, he's still a star. I mean, he's still a star.
Exactly.
Yeah, his offensive process is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Uh,
Exactly.
so, hmm. But you gotta be able to take teams to the win though.
But not
That's just
everybody
my
is
thing.
I don't think
not
like Trent
everybody is
really
built like that.
T Mac. He
But
never
that's
got.
what you want
I
the
don't think
guy
T Mac
though.
ever won a playoff series in his life, and he was considered one of the greatest offensive players for that generation. And I don't think he ever won a playoff series.
Well,
So
I guess if that's enough for you and you don't want to search for more than that, then fine. You could be honored by that title or compliment and just live the rest of your life then if that's what it's about.
That's on by me.
That's how I was always saying, like, okay,
We could be a competitor and want to live a life like that. Come on, man.
exactly my
paycheck,
point. Like
But but
if you're a
paycheck,
competitor,
you paycheck
exactly,
first.
this can say it just can say it got men that's come into the NBA strictly for money. So it's not just pay for that paycheck and call it a day. So
well,
When
you
you
got
come
people
in,
who did that like that.
when you come into the game and you get 100 mil throughout your career, and you gonna be and you're gonna be contented because you're able to provide for your family. You're in a better position than you might have come mostly than you came from. No one's gonna complain with that. I heard Gilbert Arenas said on his podcast, or I wanted to show he was on the time. If someone asked him if you have the option to win a ring, like an NBA ring, or to make like I think he said like $100 million in your career, or like $80 million in your career, which one would you take? The man said the money, no doubt. Anyone who doesn't take it is a fool. Like the
well,
man, he's still on
I
business.
I agree with that ultimatum.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah,
is a ring could come any old hole. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like you could be a bench player
But
and your
you know,
team
they
win
met like
win a ring one
you're a
year
main
and you
you're a
be
main
part of
player. You're a starting player you're a starting player. You played a pivotal role in the team.
yeah, but that's just
You did.
one ring though.
Some people say I want the ring.
But it's hard to but it's hard
But
to
that's
get
an
rid.
ultimatum that
Yeah,
is difficult because like is it
not
only one
difficult.
ring I can win
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
the end or
One ring, just
like
one ring,
is
one ring.
all right if I win that ring is my pay going to improve, you know, like there's so much moving parts, but obviously the ultimatum is going to be hard cut. You either get the ring and go along with your 20 mil 50 mil or you get 100 mil for the rest of your career. Hopefully you don't get injured, but obviously we can
And
assume
no
that
ring.
you don't get injured, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is, man. That's sometimes the way it goes. But um in lights of, you know, having having an ultimatum, would you rather be on a team in situations like this that in terms of being in the playoffs, that have a lot of experience or a young upcoming team that ready to rock the boat and potentially come through to the Eastern Conference Finals. Talking about OKC, who came up just short against the Mavs. Do you think the Mavs' experience with Kyrie, who, by the way, has an insane record in closeout games? I think it's 13-0 or 14-0, something like that.
13 now, or
13-0.
which is crazy.
Mr. Clutch.
Hey, and I don't think that he had to be the person to make it happen for him every single time either. It just so happened that he was on a team that maybe
True.
he
Very true.
helped to usher to that point where
Yeah.
the stats just turned out the way they did. But yeah, OKC, young upcoming team, young leader SGA, who's played a phenomenal season. Not going to lie, brought that team all the way up to the top, to the number one seed in a three-way head to head for that position in the West, showing again how competitive that conference was. But just coming up just short. Was it experience?
For me,
I would say the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
especially
experience.
on how the Mavericks won the game. That's literally an experience thing there. So, like, you saw the foul shot, Shave, foul PJ, and that's how the Mavericks won the game on free throws. So,
Yeah.
having the presence of mind to say, live with you gotta live with the shot. If you fall him, then it's probably a high guarantee that he scored the points versus him making that shot. You know what I'm saying?
PJ was nervous too because both of them shots trickling.
Yeah. That shot probably wasn't even getting going, to be honest. But you just gotta be.
But there's that gamble that you gotta take. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Gotta Hail Mary.
Contest. Try to make him miss, but don't fold him. But like that's the biggest sin there in this specific moment. So it comes down to experience, and I'm pretty sure he will learn from that again. Like he's in another situation like this, but I really love the Thunder's young team. They really outperform expectations by an absolute mile. We thought that chat would have come and been good for their team, provided some of what they was missing, and he exactly did that and more, and they made it further than anyone would have taught them to. Would have made it to. So shout out to them for putting up such a great fight throughout the season. A sad way to see the season end for them. But I just felt like the Mavericks capitalized on one of the Thunder's biggest weaknesses, which is size. And Chet is their only main big player on the team. He's really tall, and he's not big or brawny. And one of the Thunder's biggest weaknesses is rebounding because they're so small as a team. So we saw that get exploited by the Mavericks, and they were able to say. But I think the Thunder has one of the brightest outlets for the future. They have all the tools and resources to be able to go and fix all these problems that they, get a chance to see in the playoffs. One of the biggest places where teams make adjustments to their team on a whole is seeing how they perform in the playoffs, and then go in the off season and try to address them throughout the year. So this is, even though it's a loss, I think it's great experience for the Thunder. They have a tremendously bright future with an MVP caliber player already on their team going forward.
Agreed. The future is bright for the Thunder. But that being said, their time is clearly not no. I picked the Mavericks to win just because of experience, because of Kyrie being a champion, being there, knowing what is needed to get the job done. I did believe that the Thunder would have put up a fight, which they did. But I believe with every passing round, the lights will most definitely get brighter and brighter and brighter. And I can't say the lights were too bright for the Thunder, for the young Thunder.
Well, for shit.
Yeah, not for sure. But there's a lot of nuances you have to learn in the playoffs. The intensity is different, of course. Some fouls may not. I find they're a lot inconsistent with certain calls because you want to make sure the game isn't
That's been a
being
big complaint
quote
throughout,
unquote,
though.
quote unquote
Yeah.
too soft, but you have to make sure the calls are being fair based on the intensity of every round. And those things you learn as you progress and you get more experience. And then generally to let you know teams are going to adapt and try to make different game plans, and it all goes into intensity and experience. So that being said, and when the Mavs pulled through, I didn't expect them to pull through in 6 games. If I'm being honest, I thought it would be in 7, but they got the job done. They found a way. PJ came up pretty big. Carries
Yeah,
carry. Luca finally
Good
stepped
get.
up. Luca finally stepped up, and they played good defense. They played good defense. They kept their nerves, and I'm happy they got the win. The Thunder will definitely have their time in the future. As Ravon said, they have
It's
the
win, though.
they're in the right position right now. They have the draft picks. They got a young team, a very young team. The
you got
future
the
is bright.
money.
They got the money. The future is bright. And once they don't rush the process, I think they have to make sure
Yeah.
don't rush the process. It's still time. It might take another 2, 3 years before they make the finals or before they win it all. Who knows? And that's not even a guarantee for them to win, of course. But they just have to be patient. Don't trade away half your team to get some superstar to pair with Shea and offset the rhythm of the team and offset the chemistry. Just take your
Yeah.
time, build it slowly. How the Celtics have been doing it. Obviously, Celtics have not won anything as yet, so
How the
they still
Nuggets have been doing it.
Nuggets have been doing it. But take your
Mhm.
time, build. Know you have a good core. Find the little pieces. You could, trade here and there. If it doesn't work this year, trade away a certain piece, get a new piece. But I think the Thunder are definitely poised to be a great team in the future. But the Mavs is not just about, to be honest, it's just about now or never. I can't say that the Mavs have definitively another 2, 3 years under their belt. Kyrie can say by next season, you ready to go? That's that. He could be going like this is as good as the time they're gonna get right now. They gotta capitalize on this moment, make the best of it. So it's the
But
Mavs time.
he's basically the only really old guy there. I mean, even
I mean,
if
Kyrie,
he
but,
bumped
but,
his,
but
like, he still got opportunity to get somebody that could fill that role pretty decently
I
and still
agree.
have, yeah.
But who? I can't. We've seen different stars or players being paired with Luca. Let me not say stars, different players. But I've not seen anyone play with Luca as well as Kyrie right now. I mean, ultimately,
Yeah.
chemistry is really like
But that was something that was developed, though.
it
That
was,
was, yeah,
but it's like
because at first
It
that'll look
wasn't that
like
seamless. Yeah.
a fat
it
guy
look
on toothpicks. Like, it was real shaky.
it looks shaky.
So
But their strategy is like Luca, you punch now and punch later, or I ain't punch now, you punch later. Like,
yeah,
but you
it
need you need
all
you
trying
need
to figure
players
it out.
who are shot makers, who have the confidence, who can get the job done, can find a way, and doesn't necessarily need someone to feed them the ball for them to get
But that's
open.
something that they could do gradually. I could see a player like Cam Thomas fitting in pretty decently in that
I talked about
team.
Donovan Mitchell earlier. He's another player that could fit
I
that role if
sure.
Kyrie was to ever leave.
I ain't sure about Donovan Mitchell
But Donovan Mitchell
because
doesn't
I
pass though. It's
think,
a problem. He doesn't really pass too many.
yeah,
But he don't
At
need
least,
to
I mean,
pass because
at
Luca
least
is Susie man as facilitated
But
everything.
Kerry's able to, but Kerry's able to do that as well too. I mean,
that's
But
true. You can
Donovan Mitchell
flip
can
that
pass.
switch
It's not that
too.
he can't.
Right.
Don't underrate Donovan Mitchell's
some ability.
ability to assist the ball. Even though he doesn't do it, I can see it as he should. He's not a table setter like Luca is, but he can do it. I won't classify Kyrie as a table setter like Luca is, but he can do it.
Right.
So I put them in a
Mhm.
similar ilk when it comes to their play style to some extent. Um,
Okay.
I don't think Kyrie is one of those guys that is the number one option. He's proven that on Boston. He's proven that, well, not really on the Boston is only the real place that he's proven on the Cavs when LeBron wasn't there. He's proven on Boston when he tried to go on his solo act.
He
I
can't
think
be number
Donovan
one
Mitchell
option.
is of that he can't carry a team. He's not the one
Mhm.
that's going to carry a team like that. He needs a main guy, and I think Donovan Mitchell falls into that same ilk. he needs a main guy so he could do the stuff that he's do. Kyrie could come and get you 30 and a half. Donovan Mitchell could go off for 30 and a half. Just like Jamal Murray got Jokic. Similar type of style of players. I think they
Yeah.
all need those type of Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell, Kyrie Irving. Who else? Nobody else can
Trae
come
Young,
up.
maybe.
But those maybe Trey Young. Those type of players need that guy to really need a guy that's a table setter to really
Okay.
succeed, in my opinion.
I guess your point. I guess your point.
Hmm.
Although I would say Kerry just I just think with Kerry, his might be more a case of his personality and his ability to lead, not necessarily his ability on the court in terms of being able to break down defense or withstand what the defensive schemes that the opponent throws at him. I just think his is a case of making sure he keeps his teammates inspired. That's all it is. I think that's what he can be the main guy. But in terms of skill wise and how he's able to play, I think they might throw more defense on Kerry than Luca. They might say, yo, we got guard Kerry tighter than Luca. So I think for that case, it's only because of his personality, and that was when he was a younger player, not as mature as he's rightfully said. He was not as mature as the Celtics and at the Cavs.
Mhm.
Now this mature state, he will be more poised to lead a team. But I don't think he wants to lead a team specifically at this point in his career. I'd be very surprised. That's how I feel.
Cool. Cool. Those are very insightful thoughts. I think um as it relates to how all these players are kind of connected and what the future might look like for some of these teams and some of these individuals as well. But speaking of the future and what it looks like, if we get into some of this Western and Eastern Conference final hype. Um, let me touch on the East end first. Celtics versus Pacers. One team has been at it for so long and has come up short, disappointingly for so long. Another team on the horizon. Some might argue that they might got a bright future with some of the pieces that they got recently as well, fitting in seamlessly, I would say, because that fit with Pascal Siakam has been very smooth. They've worked their way up to a conference finals again. They're here, it's Pacers, and we've talked about it all along. Their offense is their identity. We can bank on your offense. We can hope in the defense. Try a thing or two and see what works. So, does this look like dark days for the Pacers, meaning that their season is coming to an end? Or is this the setup for an upset? See what I did there? I don't think you guys did. But is this a setup for upset for the Celtics, Boston Celtics, in that they're a team that some people think chokes at certain points of the postseason, and we'd hope that they'll get in, but there's always this question mark lingering above their heads. I think Boston has all that it takes to go to the final conference. I mean, to the finals. There's no way with the pieces that they got a handout, I would say, in Drew Holiday, good defensive player, a man level headed, know what he doing. You got Kristaps Porzingis, who's been
He
great
injured.
support player. Oh, he's in, but is he out like for the entire?
Yeah, he's not put on his
Um,
first round.
I don't know the details of his injury, but
he might be back if they make the finals or maybe some point through the series, but he ain't there for most of
okay.
it, to be
Well,
honest.
counting him out then, which
Mhm.
is the more reasonable thing to do. But super support man in Derek White, who people's been raving about and probably saying he's probably the best man on the team. as of recent. But then they still got the two superstars, Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. Can they do it? Can they finally put the pieces together, go all the way, not be, you know, like washed off by a team that people don't expect, and maybe put it together for the final? Can they do it?
Well, we jumping ahead. I think the Celtics will beat the Pacers. Very simple.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
I call it a 6 too.
I calling
A
it
what?
as a.
In 6?
It's-
That's not a lot of confidence, Hakeem. Come on. You can do better than that.
I mean, you gotta put some respect on the
men.
Pacers' name to some
I
extent.
think
5
the-
men.
we know the Celtics is laps. We know the Celtics are
Yep.
liable to lapse.
And this is
The
not a team to
Celtics-
lapse
Pacers-
against.
Yeah, the Pacers can go off on the shooting, and they're pretty good on their offense as well. Defense is not the best, but I think they have enough caliber to get to frighten the Celtics if the Celtics don't take them seriously enough. So I'm gonna go 6 games.
Yeah, I think why it would go 6 games as well is because the Celtics are prone to have a bad shooting night within this series, and while the Pacers might be having a great one, and that recipe alone can cost the Celtics a game or maybe two. Why I think that the Celtics will ultimately win the series is because who is guarding Jason Tatum? Who is guarding Jalen Brown? Who is guarding, well, maybe Derek White to a lesser extent, but they ain't got a boy that could start them too. And I feel like heading into the season, heading into the series, sorry, the Celtics have had the time because they've done their series alone a while now. They can sit down and make sure that their star players capitalize and feast on the porous defense that the Pacers have. It's not been as porous as the regular season, but it's still porous. And the Celtics have developed more of an offensive identity and a defensive identity, and I think they will be able to capitalize on Indiana's weaknesses on defense more than the Knicks would have been able to, more than the Bucks would have been able to. Yes, Pacers have benefited from injuries throughout those playoffs, but the teams that they face, they didn't really. To me, the Knicks' identity isn't offense, and the Bucks ain't even had a freaking identity, if you ask me. To be honest.
That's true.
So
Butts was crossing
they
the road.
they are now running into a team that can match them on offense because these the two teams with the highest offensive ratings throughout the whole season facing off against each other. But one is a considerably better defensive team, in my opinion. I just think that the Celtics those statistics alone should
Eh.
result in a Celtics victory in this series. Really
So
and
they're
truly.
not going to fumble the bike. They're not going to be that team that they have been too much of recent times.
I ain't saying so. I tell you, I'm sure they will have a game where they don't hit all trees, and the Pacers do, and they lose that game. Something like that. Something along those lines.
Those
I
games.
sleep on the Pacers.
Those games.
It might be
'cause you-
those games. It may be plural.
I mean,
But I'm just saying.
you got it in 6, so that's what.
Yeah,
saying
but
those
I just
games.
saying maybe
Oh.
another game might be a close game where the Pacers shoot them. If you get what you're saying, the Celtics and them might be going tit for tat, but the Pacers probably just win the game by a 2 or a point. Like, that's very possible if they get into a shootout. But I just feel confident in saying that the Celtics will lean far in on their 3-point shooting and might have a bad night and cost a game at least once in the series.
At least once.
Mhm.
That's confident.
Yeah,
I ain't saying,
that sounds about
but
right.
I ain't trying to be confident about the Celtics per se. I know that they will win. I just think that this is prone. They're prone to doing something and folding up in some aspect or the other. I still
So it's
believe that
basically
they will win,
Celtics defeating
regardless.
themselves.
Yes,
Not defeating
they
them,
will.
but-
They would. Yes, but
It's
shooting
a
themselves in the
game or
foot by
two.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but not a series. Series is a wrap.
They have been quite unserious for most of the playoffs, in my opinion. Even though they've only lost 2 games, I just feel
Yeah.
like the dominance that they showcased throughout the regular season should entail that they should be 8-0, 8-0 for these playoffs for really and truly.
Right. Or at least not a blow.
Yeah, or not game, but both the games that they lost to get blown out, they have played to that standard of dominance this season.
Yeah. 60 games is
I just
crazy.
feel like they're going to do something to let us down, in possibly 2 games. I just me putting some respect on the fact that the Pacers have done what they need to do to get this far.
Yeah.
So that's where you're at. Celtics in 6 for me.
Same here. Celtics in 6.
No, the matchup that people want to talk about
Big one.
is Mavs versus Timberwolves.
I want to hear what Hakim gonna say first, because he's in man. Oh, when he get
I
from
don't
this
even
one.
go. I don't even go introduce it. But I hope people remember that earlier in stream, this man said he had some secret prediction to make, and I told you guys I would have write it down.
I hope you did.
I ain't get a
Okay.
chance to write it down, but I can type it and keep
So
it
no,
tight
this week.
and then show it.
Right, so I can do a countdown, and we will both show it at least. You would say Hakim, and Hans will show it at the same time when they count it down. So tell me when you're ready.
If I get
Hans.
this wrong, you're Drake. Hakeem will surprise me.
Well, that's what he said he would. That's what he said he would do.
I mean, it seriously surprised me. But there we go. I got my thing written.
All right. Declare your predictions in 3, 2, 1. Go.
Timberwolves.
You can see it.
Yeah.
Got you covered, buddy. I got you covered.
I mean, you had a 50-50 chance. So.
I was
I have a 50-50
yeah.
chance. There's no way.
I was,
no
uh,
way
I
that
was, I was,
50-50.
I was tempted to say Dallas to offset you, but Timberwolves.
To offset me, bro. I got you
I just
covered.
believe the Timberwolves are that team. They have the right components, the right attitude, the right mentality, the right talent, or enough talent, or more than enough talent. Offensive threats, defensive threats, and their offensive threats are equally capable of being defensive problems for any player or the opposing team. So it's not like they have players that we gotta take off. You gotta take off a defense or the liability on defense. Great well run the team. Pretend they beat the Suns for love. And if they can beat the Nuggets, yeah, I my money's on them to win everything. Is it gonna be easy? Most definitely not. This is gonna be a challenging series. Luca and Kyrie are gonna give hell for for the Timberwolves, but I just think, and they're not big players, and I can't recall which player the Mavs.
When you say big players, we mean size or
They're not 7 feet. Luca's like 6'6", I think, or 6'8".
No. You can't go that lane. The Mavericks.
let he
Really,
go alone. Let he go alone. Let he.
I mean,
he
they don't have
big toe.
they don't have a big player like Jokic that can get you points. They don't have like a big player like a huge player like Kevin Durant or like a.
but that don't matter. Thank God,
who's
look
another
at
tall-
Kyrie dog.
Let
Yeah,
he
but-
go alone, everyone. Let he go alone.
what I'm trying to say, those are gonna be
Go
a threat,
ahead.
but it's gonna be problematic because it's gonna be a little problematic for the Wolves to deal with them. But at the same time, I think the
Mhm.
Wolves are still better equipped to deal with those kind of players. One thing, Rudy Gobert, in my opinion, might not be as he may not have as much of a presence on defense, in my opinion, because he's not gonna be able to keep up those players on the perimeter. And in the paint, we know Kyrie and Luca are both very, very adept at finishing the paint, no matter who's around them. So to me, might not be as impactful because there's not they don't have a 7 foot player or a 6'10" player who's in a serious offensive threat for the Mavs. The whole Jokic is one, whole AD is one for Lakers. Like they don't have that kind of player that comes to mind right now. That has that kind of repertoire on the offense. So it's gonna
So,
be a little. Mhm.
go ahead.
So it's gonna be a little different. So it's gonna be a little different for the Wolves on defense. But that being said, I still think the Wolves have enough firepower. I still think they're gonna be able to slow them down a little or neutralize the other players. But they got the Wolves to win. They got the Wolves all day. Quarantine Towns gonna have to play big minutes. He's gonna have to step up like how he stepped up against the Nuggets. He's gonna have to be aggressive and not settle for threes. I find the Wolves settle for threes a little too much. Anthony Edwards, in my opinion, settled for threes, especially in the last game, a little too much, in my opinion. He needs to be a little more aggressive, drive to the paint, try to pick up fouls, try to get the other team in foul trouble, or certain players in foul trouble, or just get free throw line nonetheless. He gotta find a way. The team is not that big. He gotta find a way. I think they're in a better position. I think they could get it done. And if he's having an off night, Carrington could step up. Rudy Gobert could still step up. Jenna McDaniels could still step up. Nasri could step up. They have enough firepower holistically that they don't have to depend on just two guys to get the points. For that reason, I think they have enough. They have more than enough to win this series.
So with that said, one of your points was that Gobert will have to be guarding the perimeter or help guarding the perimeter. That
He's not.
means
He's,
that
he's not gonna be able to guard.
Lob City's.
To me, he's not gonna be. He's not going to be able to guard the perimeter. He can't keep up with Curry
Right.
or
That's
Luka.
what I'm saying. That you said he'll have to do that. So basically, you're saying Miles will got a guy free on the perimeter
He might not
most of the time.
potentially.
That Gobert will have to keep up with. But that means then that Mavs not going to depend on their Lob City identity that they've had in recent times, where they've been putting it up for the
He,
throwdown a lot. So
he,
you're saying that Mavs would have to play that way, play on the perimeter in order to have a better chance of beating Timberwolves.
yes, and then when you have a better chance, but you still gonna have Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels on the perimeter causing havoc. So it's gonna kind of play into their strengths, in my opinion, the way I see it. Uh, but I don't see Rudy being as impactful in this series compared to the last series. That's my take on it.
All right. So,
Sure,
all right. And let me tell you. I agree with your prediction, but I disagree with your route to picking the Timberwolves. I think Rudy Gobert is actually going to be very critical to this specific series. Why he can stay on the court in this specific series as well is because, yes, the Mavericks don't have the two big lineup like Aaron Gordon and Jokic from the previous round, but they do have non-shooting bigs, which is Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, Dwight Powell. If the Mavericks still have Maxi Kleber, for example, we might be talking about a different story. But because you want to put Rudy Gobert on somebody that doesn't shoot, so he doesn't get space on the floor, that makes his defense, his interior defense, more valuable. It plays into the Timberwolves' hand in that regard, in my opinion. The Mavs will have to decide to go small specifically. I don't think they will, and I think that the Wolves have gotten better at playing big when teams go small. Specifically, Cat. I think Cat is the one in this specific series that may be liable to get played off the court. Because when we look at it this way, the Mavericks play, let's say, 4 wing players and a center. Cat might have to guard PJ Washington, for example. That man been flame showing from 3. They don't have a prototypical run around shooter, so they may be able to do a better job. But I feel like if they kind of put Cat in a lot of curious defensive positions, they might have a chance on offense. Cat was able to guard Jokic, who's more interior based in terms of his offense, and that's where Cat excels defensively. If you put Cat out on the perimeter, that's a liability for the defense, in my opinion. So I think the Mavs have the advantage in that set. But with that said, the Timberwolves have the flexibility to be able to switch out Cat and maybe put in Nasri. Nasri is a little bit more mobile, a little bit better at getting around screens and stuff like that. They could put him in and be able to offset. I think all in all, the matchup still favors the Wolves because of their versatility, as you mentioned on the perimeter. They can match up with Luka and Kyrie multiple different ways, and Rudy Gobert's presence is going to be big on the interior because they're going to play those non-shooting bigs. So I think, contrary to you, that Rudy actually is going to be a big reason why the Wolves would win this series, this conference final series. I'm picking the Timberwolves and going to a little bit not conservative but semi-conservative. They're going Timberwolves in 6. I don't think they have some guys that could probably put on Ant, but I think Ant is going to have a great series this toss around. Less dud games that he did in the Nugget series, in my opinion. That's 4 games. I don't. But let me not say. Let me give the Dallas the credit for being better on defense, but I think that Ant is going to have his way to some extent on this, and I think Cat is going to be another big X factor in this series because he's going to have a find a way to, you know, take advantage of smaller players that are going to guard him on the offensive end if he's getting hunted on the defensive end. So Timberwolves in 6 for me.
I go in Timberwolves in 7, just out of respect for Kyrie and Luca and the unpredictability. Not the Kyrie's unpredictability and how he's able to get points. You can't tell Kyrie when he's going to show up, and I say that in terms of which quarter in a game he's going to show up. Maybe guarding Kyrie outstanding for 3 games, going to Kyrie for maybe 10 points in 3 quarters, and Kyrie goes off for 15 points in 1 quarter. Like you can't predict Kyrie's explosiveness, and for that reason alone, I think it's going to make the Mavs dangerous. Interesting take in terms of where the Gobert any paint, any uh, interior. Ultimately, we came to the same conclusion. So different game, a game off, but definitely, we have the Wolves in 7. For me, at least, Wolves in 7.
What you has?
Me, I think whoever win the tip off in the first game will win the series.
Come on.
That's my opinion. uh Timberwolves should win. However, I think Mavs got a lot to show and to prove to the NBA community. I think they're riding on a high right now. Um, they're getting better and better, in my opinion. And I think with the emphasis on defense that they've recently in in recent series actually really put an emphasis on, I think they're on the right track. And to have done that, progressing up to this stage in the whole postseason, we should see it a lot more. Like we should see the fruits of their hard work on the defensive end a lot more. And with Kyrie leading that defensive, for lack of a better term, I want to call it energy. I think those young guys that are going to be in the paint, they're lively. Um, the other Derek Jones Jr., Gafford. I think those guys are going to play hard in the paint. Um, I agree with you. They're not going to play perimeter ball because I don't see why they would or should. That's that's probably a recipe for disaster because they're going to take out some key pieces that's gotten them this far in the series. But I think Mavs have it. Luka's yet to show any type of Luka-esque work in series. The only thing that would defeat Mavs is if he can't do that. If Luka can't show up and show out when called upon, then it's going to be very tough for the Mavs to have that offensive flow. Kyrie can't do it alone. Kyrie, I don't think Kyrie could put a lot of emphasis on defense and still, like match that with defense for too long. Maybe 2 games in the series, he will be able to do it, but that's going to be taxing. That's a heavy load to carry. So Hakeem said in 7, and I think that 7th game could go either way, to be honest with you. Um, I want to see Mavs in 7. I expecting a good series, a good back and forth. I expecting some bursts in points, like Hakeem mentioned, Kyrie being one of the culprits. Obviously, Anthony Edwards is going to be one of the culprits for the Timberwolves. So, looking forward to this matchup, but I want to put my faith in Mavs. I want to see Mavs versus Celtics in the finals.
Hmm. Well, I think this would be an interesting one as we already kind of see. It's hard. It's hard to go off of your point saying that the Mavs got a lot of momentum. I think the team with the most momentum right now has to be the Timberwolves after being the defending champions.
Mm-hmm.
Really and truly, I don't know what could give you more momentum, more confidence, more bravado, more belief in your team and your ability than that.
Sometimes does have a kind of negative effect on some teams and like sports in general. Like defending champs, you think, yeah, this is it, smooth sailing. If they think that and they lapse, it's trouble. But I know a young head-on guy going rally his team and get them in the space that they need to be in.
I don't think that they have that mentality because these teams are both trying to prove something. Just as you mentioned, the Mavs trying to prove something, Timberwolves
Yeah,
trying to prove something because neither of these teams have made it to the finals in the last 5 years. They now have the opportunity to either become one of the new champions uh, in the past 5 or so years as well.
I think
All
it's
four teams, yeah, yeah, all four for the past 5 years, there's been a different NBA champion each time.
mhm.
So now we can see another one. So they're all going to be trying to. I don't think anyone has that mentality that they should be given to us right now from the teams, from the interviews I've seen with the players in the playoffs, on
Yeah,
the teams left in the playoffs right now.
everybody
None of them
hungry.
have mentality. Everybody hungry. So uh,
Everybody
I
hungry,
hope
but
that
not
that's the
everybody
case.
everybody's hungry, but yeah, so they're starving.
To me, if they were starving, they would not lose a game.
They
To be
started
honest,
starving. They started starving, my
they're,
brother.
they're
Started
mildly hungry. They have mild hunger.
starving.
It's got
They had a
laps,
snack.
laps in appetite.
They had a snack. They had a snack, man.
Laps in appetite. But all fair points, like you said, I'm excited to see how these matchups turn out.
Sure.
Um, looking forward to a good contest between all the teams. I mean, Celtics and Pacers is going to be a lackluster one, for lack of better
Let's start.
terms.
Let's start from tomorrow
But
night.
yeah, so we shall see. We'll tune in and we shall see. Outside of that, any other thing anybody want to mention before we head off the stream
I
into the
actually kind of
next
hungry
week?
myself, boy.
Right,
Saying
Raybon
nice
wanted to
dinner,
mention
boy.
that. So you can eat some lentil patties.
I can actually do something, boy. Well, not right now.
Lentil
I,
patties.
I won't say. I won't say
You want
quick.
something
No.
late?
Yeah,
Yeah,
saying quick.
you want something late.
Yes or no, boy. But I should do
Something
something.
late for this late in the night.
Some popcorn and juice.
Oh, popcorn, get out of here with that. Get out of here. Get
So
out
you
of
got some
here.
popcorn. When the man gave me some ideas, boy.
You can really eat popcorn for real?
I already had dinner, so I mean, this is just it's not.
Oh, you probably gonna watch a movie before you get sleep.
I don't want it, but I just don't want to eat a lot of big food. I don't want to eat a lot of food before I go to sleep. Gotta eat something late. Popcorn late.
Something
go wrong.
late for the rest of the night. Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, we can reconvene next week Just quick
Yes, man.
mention for F1, Lando Norris almost beat Max. That was so
Almost.
close. I was rooting for Lando. It was hype. Zay Maloney kind of lost out, so the championship difference is about 5 points now
Very
or so.
Yep. Mhm.
Um, Paul Aaron is a thorn in Zayn's side. He's been performing very well. He's a little bit salty on the podium for the sprint race, but hey, I can understand it. But at the same time, you gotta show a
Gotta be
level of
more. Yes.
sportsmanship.
Yeah. Exactly.
When you're on that stage,
Correct.
you gotta celebrate with the guys when they outdo you, I guess. But I guess he's in the heat in the moment or what's not. Still got a lot to learn. Still a very
Yeah.
young talent. So I guess those are things that he learned by experience. But that's been it so far, peoples. Well, not so far. That has been it for this show, for this lovely, insightful show for what's to come. Hope you guys tune in to the matchups. It's going to be exciting, peoples. I'm telling you, especially that Mavs Timberwolves game. It's going to be a lot of back and forth. So tune into that. For right now, Hastrobros out. So we'll see you guys next week. Give you guys an update what's
Next
going
week.
on. Peace.